I'm Jane Copier, and you're listening to Happy in the Middle, a podcast for Christian women who want to make the second half of life the best half. This podcast is all about helping women to reignite their spark and step into their divine power in order to create deep and connected relationships and also find that fulfillment and satisfaction they crave. So, if you're ready to grow, join me and learn how you too can overcome guilt, resentment, disappointment, and enjoy the fruits of creating a life well lived. Let's go. Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the podcast. Today's episode is number 128, How to Get Anything You Want by Building Self-Trust. Oh, as you can hear, you guys, I'm struggling with my voice again. And you know what? I'm really sorry. I know it's hard to listen to, but I made a promise to myself that I would get this podcast out every single week. And so I'm here and I'm showing up. And if you don't want to listen, I totally understand. But I promise this message is so helpful and it will help you in your life today. And we are talking about building self-trust. We're talking about something that shapes every area of your life. It's not motivation, it's not opportunity, not talent, but self-trust. Because when you deeply trust yourself, you stop waiting for life to change before you feel powerful. You stop outsourcing your peace to other people, to circumstances around you, or to outcomes, right? And honestly, this is when your whole life begins to shift. Many of my clients come to me thinking that they need more discipline, they need more willpower or more clarity. But what they really need is a stronger relationship with themselves. Because if you don't trust yourself to follow through, if you know that you are prone to breaking those self-promises or that you don't trust yourself to handle feeling uncomfortable, then even those goals that you do push yourself to achieve through using sheer willpower, they won't feel secure. In your head, you'll constantly wonder, can I keep this up? What if I fail again? What if I can't handle it? Why should I try? Right? Self-trust is that magic bullet that changes all of that. And the beautiful thing is self-trust is not something that you're born with. It's something that you build. And every single human on this planet can do it. This is the best news ever because it puts you in the driver's seat of your life. You are the one in control. You get to choose the life you want to live, the way, the how, all of it. So today I want to walk you through 5 powerful shifts that help you become someone who trusts herself deeply. And because of that, can create a life she actually wants, a life she enjoys living. The first powerful shift is to start living deliberately instead of reactively. Most people are living on autopilot. They think life just happens to them, right? They wake up, they react to their feelings, react to their calendar, react to other people's moods. They react to their own cravings, their distractions, their stress, their social media. It's all a reaction and it creates exhaustion. When we react and we're constantly in this reactive mode, we wonder why we're so disconnected from our own life. Building self-trust, becoming a self-trusting woman, is one who lives her life deliberately by choosing. Okay, she stops asking, what do I feel like doing? And instead, she starts asking, what kind of woman do I want to become? That question changes everything, my friends, because your life is not just a collection of random habits and emotional reactions. Life doesn't just happen to you, right? It is the result of repeated thoughts, repeated behaviors, repeated choices. And many of the things that we call personality traits are actually just practice patterns that have become a belief system. We've practiced them so often, we believe that they're true. You're not just an anxious person. You're not just bad with follow through. You're not just emotional, right? They might feel really true. The truth is you may simply have just deeply practiced patterns, and those patterns can change. This is the blessing of life. This is the blessing of agency. This is the blessing that coaching can show you, right? One of the most powerful things you can do is to make decisions ahead of time. I remember the first time that I heard this concept was when I was a teenager. I was at church, and I remember our teacher, our young women's leader, telling us, you can decide now that you are a person who does not drink alcohol or do drugs. Decide now, make that choice now. And so that answer will always flow off your lip. It will always be a no. When it's offered to you, it will be easy to say because you've already made the decision. You've already decided. Well, I did make that decision for myself and it did work. It was easy for me to say no when I got to college and I was offered those things. It was very easy for me to say, no, I don't drink. No, I was never offered drugs, luckily. I hung out with pretty boring people. We were volleyball players and we just went to workouts and went home and, had a pretty simple life. But I was offered alcohol at a few parties and it was just very, very easy for me to say, no, I don't drink. So it's important for all of us, right? Decide who we want to be before the moment arises. Okay, so decide, how do I want to respond when I'm feeling stressed, right? What does my higher best self want for me in those moments? How do I want to treat my body? Do I want to lean into the cupcake or the cookie, or do I want to process the stress, feel that emotion in my body, and then do something healthier? Go for a walk. Go for, do some journaling. Decide, how do I want to speak to myself? Do I treat myself well? Do I talk to myself as someone I highly regard, that I love and cherish? What kind of relationship? What kind of relationship do I want to build with myself? What kind of relationships do I want to create with my friends and my loved ones? A deliberate life creates peace because you stop living at the mercy of your emotions. Okay, the second shift is to learn how to stop escaping yourself. This one's huge. So many of my clients are completely out of touch with their emotions because they spend their lives avoiding them. They avoid them by buffering so that they don't have to feel discomfort, right? They fall into behaviors like overeating or over scrolling on their phones or overworking at their jobs because what's happening there is easier than what's happening at home, or over drinking, right? Substance abuse of any kind, or staying in a constant state of busyness, right? If I'm busy enough, I don't have to sit down and sit with myself and feel what I'm feeling. Or maybe it's like watching Netflix every single night, just zoning out in front of the TV, because then it's easier than actually dealing with what comes next or dealing with my goals that are nagging me for attention, right? Spending time shopping online, people pleasing, all of these things, all of these ways that we try to tune out or avoid negative emotion. And listen, I get it. And we do this not because we're bad people, but because we don't want to feel those uncomfortable emotions. But the moment that you stop constantly trying to escape yourself, you become emotionally stronger. The moment that you sit with it, when you get comfortable with being uncomfortable, it all gets easier. Because if you're willing to feel discomfort, even though it's not pleasant, you begin to understand that emotions are only sensations in your body and they can't hurt you. They might not feel good, but they won't do lasting damage. They can't hurt you. You can survive any emotion that might come up, and you build your emotional strength when you do this. That emotional strength creates self-trust. When you realize I can feel disappointment and I survive. Yeah. In fact, I bet all of us have lots of instances that we can look to in our past and see where we felt some disappointment. And look, hey, you survived, right? You're here, you're alive, it didn't kill you, right? You can feel rejection and survive. You can feel anxiety and survive. You can feel shame and survive. You've been through all of it. And when you can feel that emotion and not buffer it away with a cookie or tune out in front of the TV, you stop fearing your emotions. And this is so important because many women are not actually afraid of failure. What they're afraid of is the feeling that failure might bring, right? So if we aren't afraid to feel failure, We gain courage to try. There's no risk in it anymore. It's just an emotion. And if we know we can handle that emotion, we know that we can handle the trying. I had a client that was a college volleyball player, and she played so well, except for when her family showed up to watch her. Then she would get in her head, she'd fall apart on the court. She couldn't do anything right. So as we talked, I realized that she was so afraid of failing in front of them that she was making her fear come true. Her brain told her that she had to play perfectly. And she was so afraid of feeling judged or insufficient by them. She did not want to disappoint them. And so it was so fascinating as we talked about this subject. And I watched her brain as we helped her to uncover her beliefs around this. And what she came to realize that was that when people attend a sporting event, they expect to see a quarterback throw an interception. They just do. They expect to see somebody fumble a ball. They expect a baseball player to strike out at times. They actually expect a gymnast to stumble and a swimmer to lose a race. It's all part of the game. That's part of the expectation. And that's what her family is expecting to see too. They didn't come to see her play perfectly. They came to see her play the game. And once she was able to wrap her brain around that and become okay with the truth that even the greatest players of all fail at times, she was able to perform on the court again at the high level that she could with her family there watching. It was just so fun to see. It's just so important for all of us to learn on a cellular level that emotions are not emergencies. They're not a problem. Again, they're just sensations moving through the body. And when you stop resisting them, when you stop making them a big deal, and you stop leaning away from them and allow them to exist in your body and to process them and breathe through them, they lose so much power over you. It's such a blessing when you learn to do this. Become a woman who trusts herself to handle discomfort. That belief in yourself alone will change your life. Okay, the third shift is to build self-trust through action and follow through. This is where self-trust becomes real. You build trust with yourself the same way you build trust with another person, by becoming reliable. If someone constantly broke their promises to you, you wouldn't fully trust them, right? That's just the way of it. Yet so many women do this to themselves every single day. They say things like, oh, I'll start Monday, or I'll go to the gym tomorrow. I'm done people pleasing. I'm just going to say no. I'm going to rest more this next week, right? I'm going to write a book sometime in the future. And then they don't follow through. But what happens is over time, their brain starts believing, she doesn't mean what she says. We don't really have to pay attention to that because she's not serious about her life, right? That destroys self-trust. So start smaller if you need to, but start honoring your word to yourself. Keep your self-promises, not because you're trying to become perfect, but because you're trying to become dependable to yourself. One of the fastest ways to create momentum is to stop focusing on the end result and start focusing on the process. Those daily little things that you can do, that 5% more, that one more rep at the gym. Schedule a walk, schedule a writing session, schedule time for prayer, schedule a difficult conversation that you want to have, schedule a workout, right? Even if it's 5 minutes. When you do it and you honor that promise to yourself, celebrate yourself. Your brain needs that dopamine. It needs to get that reward of, I made a promise to myself and I did it. I am someone who can trust herself. Even when you don't feel like it, do it. Especially when you don't feel like it, do it. And then you get to celebrate extra hard. I do this with my husband all the time when we go to the gym on those days when we don't really feel like we want to be there. As soon as we're done, I'm like, high five, yay us, we did it again. Like we are people who honor that promise to take care of our bodies. Every time you follow through, you send yourself that powerful message, I can count on me. And honestly, that creates a kind of confidence that no external validation will ever give you. No one can tell you how good you are or how brave you are or any of that. Those things are nice in the moment, but if you don't believe it yourself, if you haven't given yourself enough evidence to believe that you can trust yourself, it doesn't stick. It has to be created by you for yourself. Okay, the fourth shift is to practice being the watcher. This sounds harder than it is. I promise it's pretty simple. It means learning to observe yourself without constantly judging yourself. Instead of becoming completely consumed by your thoughts, your emotions, your mistakes, or your fears, you just learn to kind of step back and witness them. Just imagine yourself stepping out of your body and observing what's going on in your head, right? That helps you become curious instead of critical. You stop making every emotion mean something dramatic about who you are. You stop turning every mistake into an identity. You start to realize, oh, hey, guess what? I am not my thoughts. That's not who I am. That's what my brain is thinking, right? I'm not my fear. That is an emotion that's happening in my body. That is not my inner being. I'm not my worst moment. That is something that happened, and it is just a moment. It is not a judgment about my character or who I am internally, right? This creates so much freedom because women who lack self-trust are often deeply infused with self-judgment. We confirm our lack of ability by talking to ourselves like, see, I knew I'd fail, or see, I'm just not disciplined, or see, there's something wrong with me. Like we're giving ourselves more evidence that we cannot be trusted. But when we practice this awareness without shame, it changes everything. You say, oh, I see I wasn't choosing for myself. I was reacting to an emotion I was feeling. Let me process that emotion. Let me see if I can make a new choice that serves me better. When you get curious, that curiosity will create growth. But your shame about yourself will create paralysis. And the more conscious you become, the more authority you gain over your life. Okay, the fifth and final shift is to develop a deep self-regard. This might be the most important piece of all. Again, we're going back to how do we speak to ourselves? How do we treat ourselves? What do you tolerate from yourself? What is your opinion of yourself when no one is applauding you? I've talked about this before on the podcast. So many women are walking around with identities that were formed decades ago. Identities that I'm not enough, or I'm too much, or I'm difficult, or I'm unlovable, I'm selfish, I'm weak, I'm broken, all the things. But those are learned beliefs. They're not the truth. When you constantly relate to yourself through criticism, through disappointment, through shame, I'm telling you, my friends, self-trust becomes almost impossible because self-trust grows best in an environment of self-respect, not self-hatred. You cannot bully yourself into a place of peace. Bullies make us feel powerless. Don't do that to yourself. One of the most empowering things you can do is stop identifying as a powerless person. Do not be a victim in your life. You're not helpless. You may not control every circumstance, but you absolutely influence your thoughts, your actions, your behaviors, your healing, your boundaries, your future, the meaning that you assign to your life. If you want a life you love, if you want a marriage that feels delicious to your soul, if you want joyful relationships with your kids, you have 100% capacity and ability to create that. Be intentional about your life. Choose the outcomes you want to experience and then take those measured, purposeful steps. Take action every single day to build your self-trust and watch as you transform your life. That's powerful living, my friends, and it's what this life is about. It's about creating from a place of love, just like our heavenly parents created you and me. And if you want help with this process in your own life, please book a free call with me. Let me show you what's possible for you. Learning these tools is an important first step, but you won't gain any traction without actually implementing them in your own life. And that is where a good coach can really help. So if you need help and you need support, please reach out to me or another coach. Like, find someone to help you get the help that you need. Okay, my friends, that's all I can say today. I hope you have a great week, and I will see you next time. Take care. Hey, if you are ready to get unstuck and make your midlife amazing, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss an episode. And I want to invite you to join my Empty Nest Academy, where you will learn how to transform your mind, your relationships, and your life. Come free yourself of regret and disappointment and be so much happier. Listen, sis, we've got one shot at this big, beautiful life. Let's make it amazing. Go to janecopier.com, that's JaneCopier.com, and sign up today. And if you're not sure what's right for you, book a free consultation with me and we'll talk it over together. And we'll make sure to get you on the path that serves you the best. See you inside.